What up, y'all? Uncle Benji here. Welcome back to the channel. We have another fabulous video for you today. This one is an artist spotlight, and I'm really excited about this one. You can tell by the vinyl right here. We're talking about Sideshow. This is his new album, T.O.Y, which came out earlier this year. It is currently my album of the year. I love it so much. I honestly expect it to be the album of the year at the end of the year because there's been so much great stuff that's already come out this year. But to me, nothing is touching this masterpiece. And I've been a Sideshow fan since like 2020. Around the same time I was getting into Mike's music, I was kind of getting into the members of 10K around him. And Sideshow was definitely someone that I tapped into around that time. He already had a couple projects out for me to listen to, and that 2020 to 2021 era, he put out like 4 or 5 albums, and they're not on physical, at least that I'm aware of. I don't have them on physical, but I have some other items starting in 2023 when he started putting out some physical product. And the first one was this EP jam that he made with Alexander Spit, who's a producer that he's worked very closely with really throughout his career. If you look back on any of these projects to this day, to the new one, you're going to see Alexander Spit beats all over it, and they're phenomenal beats. None of his beats sound the same, and that's something I'll definitely talk about with this project that sets a precedent for their kind of chemistry, because Sideshow can rhyme on any different kinds of beats. He has all different types of production, but he has a fabulous ear for beats. The beats he chooses are always great, and that's a real skill as an MC that's underrated. A lot of great MCs are always rhyming well, but they don't always pick the best beats, and it doesn't highlight them the best. But Sideshow albums, any of his albums, you're gonna find unique production, dope production, varied production, and Alexander Spit really lays out a template for that with this jam project. I didn't get this EP until pretty recently. It was around the time that I ordered this earlier this year that I bought this EP. Even though it's the oldest physical product I'm going to talk about, I just got it this year. And it's something that I had been thinking about buying for the past couple years a lot, but because it was just like a smaller, like 10-inch and not a full 12-inch vinyl, a shorter project, I wasn't spending money for that. And until, it was just, you know what, I had to have that. I have to have everything Sideshow has put out, and I got it. And man, I'm so thankful I did. I already liked the project, but the artwork, especially on the back there, is super cool. And I love listening to this, and it really is a great example of the chemistry that Sideshow has with Alexander Spit. Some of my favorite songs on there, Offer Blood, has lines on here like, I did some shit and I'm the only one that know. My mom or tell her homegirls that I'm a poet. Just a lot of really simple lines with Sideshow that you can really learn a lot about him if you dig beneath the surface and kind of understand the picture that he's painting. He can say a lot with just a couple words, just a couple lines. And he's not super detail oriented, but if you listen closely, you're going to pick up details that form a full picture of the type of life that Sideshow's living and where he's come from. A couple other songs on here on the backside that I love: Earth, Wind, and Fire and Hard to Kill. Incredible songs. It's a great EP. It's not on sale anymore. I was telling people that missed out on this, hey, grab that 10-inch because it's still available. Well, now, unfortunately, that's sold out too. So, Sideshow has gained a lot of popularity this year through the greatness of T.O.Y, but I'm really glad that I was able to get that Jam EP in my collection before it sold out. But then later in the same year, in 2023, Sideshow put out this full 12-inch here, 2mm, Don't Just Stand There, and incredible artwork all over this. I'm going to show you more of the packaging to this, because Sideshow, especially from this point on, his artwork, his packaging. This right here, if you look on both sides, it has a news communication about what's going on with the genocide in Tigray from 2020 through 2023. Gives a lot of really pertinent details. Really beautiful yellow vinyl here that came with it. But this is a phenomenal album from Sideshow. This was the first piece of Sideshow merch physical that I got. I bought this, I think, probably right when it came out, if not sometime later in 2023. But yeah, this was the first piece of Sideshow vinyl that I bought. And he's got a lot of producers on here that he's worked with throughout his career. Alexander Spitt, obviously Popstar Benny, is a producer he's worked closely with. A.O. Chillman, who produced a track with Valet on here. He produces stuff for Valet all the time, A.O. Chillman, but that's one of my favorite songs on here. 2MM featuring Valet, incredible song. Omari Lysite, who's also has a lot of beats on this album as well. Neonte produces a track on here. So there's a lot of great producers on here. Alex Dogdale as well. Some other songs on there. Shell and a Ghost has the line, took a flight to see my reach. I was out in Prague. They trying to be like me. He has a lot of like insights from his traveling the world. He already has a worldly perspective coming from Tigray and then being in the US and then getting to the point that he can travel on his own and tour. And I love hearing about the different nuggets that he has from his travels around the world. Like I said before, he slips in little details here and there, if you pay attention, that really enrich the story of Sideshow and who he is. Nowhere to Hide, another fabulous song on here, has the lyric, make sure you smile when you suffer. Another really just understated, insightful line that Sideshow is a master at in his work. My favorite song on here, Mr. Couldn't Hurt a Fly. Just fabulous production, fabulous song. He has the line, drugs feel better than sex on here. You know, drugs are a common theme in Sideshow's music. We'll talk a little bit more about that, especially when we get to this album right here. Just short little lines that give you a lot of windows into Sideshow. Very common theme in his music. We're moving on here to the next album what we're going to talk about. And this is F.U.N. T.O.Y. It came out in June of 2024. Again, just look at the amazing artwork that he puts, the packaging that he puts, the inner sleeves. You know, not many people are shelling out to make their inner vinyl jackets look so cool. Beautiful tricolor vinyl. There's another beautiful colored vinyl edition for this as well. This was an album that when it initially came out, I missed the drop. I don't know what I was doing, because by the time this came out in 2024, I was definitely a big Sideshow fan and was tapped into whatever he was doing, but somehow I missed it. And I've seen him on resale for a while. And finally, a couple months after I bought this, I saw a good price on resale for that F.U.N. T.O.Y. And I was like, let me get it to complete my collection, to have all the Sideshow vinyl that he's put out. So really thrilled to add F.U.N. T.O.Y. to the collection. He does something on this that carries through to this, where he has kind of some narrative interludes. He's talking to a Christian guy that's telling him all the things that him and his friends in the world are doing wrong and why they can't get into heaven. And it's just, you know, a really cool perspective to kind of weave in through the songs. And he takes that theme even further with this album, having those kind of interludes. He has some great songs on here, R.I.P. Stove, where he's rapping about a friend that died at the age of 16, presumably due to violence, and another window into the type of life that Sideshow has come up living. F.U.N. is one of my favorite songs on here. At the end of the chorus on here, he has a line that really sticks in my head. I'm trying to do shit different. You trying to do shit, but you too inconsistent. Just really showing like the level that you have to have as a musician. Like being consistent is so important, and doing something different on top of it. Not just, yeah, I'm putting out music, I'm releasing stuff, I'm working on my craft, but I'm making my flows different. I'm changing stuff up. I'm rapping on different types of beats while other people are doing the same thing and they're not even consistent with it. A lot to read into with Sideshow's lines, as always. Sell me sickness, sell me health. Super honest from Sideshow, really talking about his vices and the demons that he fights in his life. And these themes really come even further when we get to T.O.Y, the album from this year. But he's a super honest writer, and you really get to understand what he's struggling with. He has an affinity for drugs. He sees the effect that it has on his life, the effect it has on his relationships, different elements like that. Pray for Thunder, another great song on here. And you got an El Cousteau feature on LL Cool J. He doesn't have a lot of features throughout all of his albums, like maybe one or two on different ones. Like he really holds down his albums on his own. He has a lot of 10K family. If they do appear on an album, El Cousteau's feature on here is great. But this is just another great album from Sideshow, F.U.N. T.O.Y 2024. And then we get, you know, up to present day. So it's like I've been a Sideshow fan for 5+ years coming into this year. Really had no idea he was going to put out an album. It wasn't, I don't think, more than a month. Like this came out in February. I don't think it was about more than a month or so that we heard about it, that it was coming out. And then it was not just it was coming out, it was a quadruple album. It's split into 4 different parts. And when I say that this album is a masterpiece, I say that like I can tell you in 5-10 years from now, I'm still going to be equally obsessed with this album because it's an hour long. Almost every single song and beat on here I love. And most of the songs are just a couple minutes long, which is Sideshow's kind of MO. He doesn't do 4-minute songs with a hook in the middle. He has hooks at different points in his songs, but it's usually just 1 minute to 2 minutes on his songs. And a lot of people make music this way. Earl Sweatshirt's a great example. And there's a lot of albums that are just, you know, 10 to 14 tracks and less than 30 minutes. Has kind of become a regular thing in rap. And for a lot of people, like someone like Earl again, like he's someone that, man, I'd love if he put out 45, 50-minute, 17-track album with lots of raps on there. Maybe some longer songs. Like I would love to hear that, you know, but I'm not getting my hopes up because I love what Earl gives me anyway. He's been more prolific lately, you know, so if you keep putting out music, even if they're shorter projects, that's good with me. But, you know, I never expected Sideshow to make an album like this that has 4 different parts and has 30 songs and is an hour long, and the consistency just incredible throughout. Like it's kind of staggering. And the ear for beats is like, I've always felt that with Sideshow, but you listen to this album, it's like, how can you pick out 32 different beats and they're all fire? Even the interludes that he has, I told you, he has these interludes woven through, and instead of like an interview with a guy, like it's a story that Sideshow's telling, almost like a parable of a dog and a tiger in ancient times and the nature of violence. And it just really adds a lot to this album. It's hard for me to skip these because not only the beat's beautiful when he's talking and telling the story, it just kind of makes you think and adds some insight into the way that someone grows up in a really violent world and society and the choices they make and what are the right choices, what's good, what's bad. To talk a little bit more about T.O.Y and give you a little more detail about it, I have the standard version of T.O.Y that I bought. It's a double vinyl, but I had to get the second special edition white vinyl they put out too. A big reason for that, it also came with this USB pill drive that is just a super, super cool piece of merch. Like I said, he just put so much into the packaging of his art. He doesn't have to do all this extra stuff, you know, but it's always there. It always looks on point, and it's a total package of what Sideshow gives you. And I'm not going to go into too much depth about this album because I bet at some point in time you're going to see a full video on it. You're going to see a video when I do ranks of albums of the year. But I just want to talk a little bit about some songs. I mean, it starts off with Signs and Symbols, just an incredible beat and intro song with a sample on there with Sideshow just kind of laying out, follows the signs that he sees. And I follow that philosophy a lot in life. Like, I'm not a religion person, but I see signs and I follow them, and I know that I'm on the right path if I'm seeing signs that click with me. And it's just one of those ways that you can add maybe not a little spirituality, but a little connectivity to the universe when you see the world that way to kind of let you know that you're on the right path. And it's cool to know that Sideshow shares some of that perspective. We get into some runs on this album. I talk about runs a lot on Twitter where I say, this is a great 4-song run. Well, Sideshow has multiple runs on this album of incredible songs. And there's interludes mixed in, but like if we go from I Am the Captain, My Chemical Romance, Martyr Most High, Heart to a Feather, Keep It Together with El Casto, Flood to a Frenzy, Life's as Violent as You Make It, Blame Bernays, Almost Famous. I mean, that run of songs, it's probably my favorite on the whole album, but it's just stellar. The best run of songs together that I'll hear on any album. This year, one of my favorite runs, maybe of all time, of just consistency of incredible songs on there. I mean, My Chemical Romance and Martyr Most High, like, listen to those songs, read about what people say about those songs. I'll go into more detail on some of them probably at some point, but man, those songs are incredible. We have another run, a shorter run of Solid Snake, Bandito Generoso, Schizo Bob, and I Love Narcotic. Love that run of songs, incredible songs. And then at the end of it, the way this album closes with Wretched of the Earth, Happy Machine with Niante, Pussy Riot, Year of the Fire Horse, Look What Our Stomachs Made Us Do, International Soda Club, +5, and Chaos Constant. Just an incredible run of songs. The producers on this album, it's just, you got Alexander Spit and Popstar Benny and A.O. Chillman again that show up. But then you got like LaRon on here on multiple tracks, who's one of the hottest producers at the moment. Harrison from Surf Game, one of the hottest producers at the moment. You got like Anicia Kim producing tracks on here. W has multiple tracks on here. Tony Selcher contributes, and many, many others. There's so many amazing producers that all have different sounds, but it all clicks and works together because Sideshow is so good at picking these beats. I just cannot get enough of this album. And the reason why I'm making this video this week is I'm about to see Sideshow in a couple nights here in Chicago. I'm driving up there from Indy, and I cannot wait to see this Sideshow concert at an intimate venue. It's the first time I've seen him live. I've heard he's been killing shows lately. I don't know who we're going to get to open. Maybe El Casto, maybe Nakel, who's been opening for some shows. Anybody who comes, though, are welcome. But seeing Sideshow is going to be incredible. I cannot wait. We'll definitely pick up some merch at that show. An album like this is pretty much ensured that anything Sideshow puts out going forward, I'm going to buy. You know, this is the year of Sideshow, and this is my artist spotlight. So there'll definitely be more talk about Sideshow on this channel, more talk about this album, Tigray Funk, this year, my current album of the year. But that's it for today, y'all. Till next time, peace out, Uncle Benji.